When we started to plan this trip, we were looking at going to places like Hakone, Nikko, and Kamakura. But during this time, on one of my early Japan vlogs, I received a suggestion from a viewer to visit the Izu Peninsula. And like most of you watching, I'd never heard of this place. But from a quick Google search, you can see how beautiful it is. So in the spirit of exploring new places, which was a big point for us when coming to Japan in the first place, my girlfriend Keegan, our best friend Mimi, and me, Benji, decided to rent a car for 3 days, leave Tokyo and head to the Izu Peninsula. This car ended up being essential because even though this ended up being one of the most beautiful places I've ever been, we discovered that it had an interesting history. The drive from Tokyo was a total of 3 hours, so we made a stop along the way at a place called Atami. Atami was quiet, but it seemed like there were some tourists around, and a few areas to eat. But like we always do, we found an Indian restaurant to grab some lunch. After our delicious Indian food, we realized that now we were out of Tokyo, we needed to get some cash. So we headed to Lawson to grab some cash, get a few snacks for the road to Shimoda Prince Hotel, where we would be staying for the night. This whole section of the trip was along the coastal road, so there was lots to see out the window. Once we finally arrived at our hotel, we were all quite exhausted. This was the room that we got for the 2 nights that we were here. Pretty nice to say the least, and there was plenty of space for all of us. So we decided to sit and relax and have a chat for a little bit before the girls went down to the beach, even though the weather was pretty bleak. While I stayed in the room, as the view from the room was quite amazing.
So we're in a place called Shimoda, which is in the most southern part, right on a hotel called the Shimoda Prince Hotel. We're also not too sure what we're going to be doing here. We're thinking that tonight we're going to go to Perry Road, which is in Shimoda, and look around, find some great food. I've heard that food in this area, specifically the fish, is very, very fresh, and they're known for a soy sauce red snapper. Tomorrow I think we might be going to a waterfall and maybe an onsen, but sadly the weather isn't too good right now and that might be a problem throughout the weekend, but we'll see what we can do and I'm sure it's going to be an incredible adventure.
After the girls came back inside, we decided to make our way to Perry Road, but when we got there, it was a complete ghost town. With Perry Road having multiple articles written about it, we assumed that there would be things nearby to see, but we were wrong. There were a few cars around, but no people on the streets, or lights on in the buildings. We were unsure what to do, but after going to multiple restaurants that we could see on Google, with each one either being closed, abandoned, or never existing, we ended up finding a small restaurant run by a local man, which was completely empty. As we got comfortable in the restaurant for the night, eagerly waiting our food, just as our food arrived, I received a notification on my phone. There was an earthquake. So we sat in anticipation, watching the earthquake app, waiting for the aftershock. This was filmed on June 16th. And over the past couple months, we had seen a sizable increase in the amount of seismic activity in Japan. Even though this earthquake didn't hit us too much where we were, if we were back home, it would have been a magnitude 4 for us. But in the following month, there were more earthquakes coming, and much larger ones, with some of them reaching 7 to 7.2 on the Richter scale. So if you're ever visiting Japan, this is a very real problem, and something to be aware of. There's a great app called Nerve that you should definitely check out if you're there. But after that kind of nerve-wracking experience, we finished our food and ended up stopping off at 7-Eleven to grab a couple snacks and a few drinks, to finish the night off at the hotel. After a long day yesterday, this morning was looking hopeful. The sun was out, the skies were beautiful, and the sea looked spectacular. After standing on the balcony for a little while, admiring the view, and watching the surfers in the water, we decided that it was best to go and see it for ourselves and get immersed in the nature around us. While we were here, we had no hope that there would be such amazing weather. But we were honestly blessed to have had a day like this. I spent a little bit of my time on the beach searching around for little crabs because we'd seen so many of them. After an amazing time at the beach, we decided that we needed to eat breakfast. So we headed into Shimoda town to get a bite to eat. We'd ended up finding this poke and acai bowl place, but after last night, we did not have high hopes that it would be open. Fortunately for us, we were wrong. But I cannot say the same for the rest of the town. After enjoying our refreshing acai bowl and Keegan's poke bowl, we decided to give Shimoda another go and walk around the town to see what was open in the daytime. Most of the town looked abandoned, and still there was next to no people around. It was a bit strange. I thought that maybe this place was just seasonal with a lot of the shops closing as it wasn't the summer yet. But we saw a nice shrine on the hill, tried to go into a cafe, and a nice old lady came to the door to tell us that she was too tired to open that day. But that's when we saw this camera sign and all these cameras on display. So as I went to look inside, mostly because I was curious to what they might have. We ended up having one of the most lovely experiences of the whole trip, with the owner having a chat with us, and he actually made the girls both an origami crane, which was so nice of him. Shortly after, and a little bit further down the road, we discovered this Japanese snack store full of tons of different unique and interesting Japanese snacks that we've never seen before. Obviously, the girls had to buy a couple. We then made our way back to the car. We were now going to make our way over to Ito for lunch, where Keegan had found a nice restaurant where we could try some of the local regional dishes. But on the way, we stopped at 7-Eleven. So a lot of the 7-Elevens and Lawsons and Family Marts in Japan will have this brown and white color scheme instead of the normal colors. This is to comply with local landscape and zoning laws in historic areas and scenic areas because they ban loud, bright neon colors that ruin the traditional views of the environment. You'll usually see this in national landmarks or old towns or near temples. But that's enough of that. Let's head over to Ito. When we arrived in Ito, we went straight to a seafood restaurant, which was called Marugen. We ordered 3 dishes. One was a plate of sashimi, and the other 2 were regional dishes. The golden eye snapper with soy sauce, which was my favorite. And then the other was a type of freshly caught mackerel, diced up with a side of rice, green chilies, plus 3 additional sides, one of them being pickled radish. You could eat this dish on its own, or you could add all of it into a bowl and add miso soup, and then you eat it as a rice broth/porridge. But after our food, we noticed that this town has the same problem. Basically nothing is open. We went to multiple cafes before finally finding this one, which again happened to be completely empty. But that's okay. We all got a drink, had a little chat, and decided what we wanted to do next. Alright, there we go. So we're in Ito right now, and it's literally a ghost town. There's tons of abandoned buildings,
Yeah.
tons of hotels around. So I wonder if this was like a really popular hotspot, maybe in like the 90s,
And then,
early
yeah.
2000s, and has died out.
Yeah, because the hotels look pretty old. The Prince Hotel, it's fine, but it is like a little bit run down. It's definitely older, and that's like the main resort that is in the town. So yeah, it's just very, very quiet.
I think also what was difficult for us coming here was like everything that we look for, like restaurant wise, it says that it's open and then you get there and it's not open. If you want a real genuine experience in Japan, I feel like this is kind of the route to go.
I don't know if this has been a long time thing, it's always been like this, but from what we're seeing, the decline and the lack of things that are open, it seems like there's like maybe 3 to 5 restaurants open in all of Shimoda, and Ito, it's like big, but there's like not much open. It's very interesting. We're still enjoying our time here, but yeah, I'll keep documenting what it's been like to be here, because it's definitely very different to what we expected. Once we left Ito, we decided to make our way over to the waterfall that I mentioned earlier. While we started on main roads, I decided to take a detour through the mountains, which was really special. These narrow, winding roads were full of beautiful trees, hidden houses, and views of the landscape. I particularly enjoyed this large bamboo forest section, where lots of the bamboo had fallen down. But after about 25 minutes of driving through the mountains, we made it out and back onto the main roads. This was when the rain started and the fog came in. The clouds came overhead and things got darker. This place was so quiet, so dark, and the fog made it feel very eerie. But we weren't quite at the waterfall yet, so we looked at the map and realized we had to have a little walk down to the waterfall. As we walked down the path, there was not a single person to be seen or heard. Each step that we took got darker and darker as the trees surrounded us and took away the light. The sound of the birds was the only thing we could hear, but as we got closer, the crashing of the water got louder and louder. As we left the waterfall, the night started to fall, and we made sure to end the day with some good food. This restaurant was on the beach with a full-size pizza oven making incredible sourdough pizza. The next morning, I took one last look out of the balcony, packed up my stuff, and went down to the car. It was time to leave the hotel and start heading back home, but we still had a few stops that we wanted to make on the way back. So far, the thing that had really impressed me about the Izu Peninsula was just the nature. The terrain was completely different to anywhere else I'd been in Japan. It really was special, and it made it such a memorable place for us. With the car all packed up and us ready to go, I grabbed a nice latte and a curry pan from 7-Eleven, and we headed off to the first stop, which we almost missed until Keegan realised that we were very close to it on the way home. so we turned around. This was a place called Joran Falls. This was another waterfall in the Izu Peninsula, slightly smaller than the other one we went to yesterday, but this one had a lot more around it, such as a gift shop and a few places to get food. The main thing this area is known for is wasabi. There are a lot of wasabi flavoured snacks. That is because it's grown around here, and you can see it in abundance down by the waterfall. Once we left the waterfall, we grabbed these steam buns from one of the local shops. The brown one was boar and the other one was deer, as both of these animals are native to this area. We also treated ourselves to a nako dango ice cream and a wasabi soft serve before making our way to the second stop of the trip.
So it's like dango, inako dango ice cream?
Yeah, like warabi,
Brown
warabi
sugar
mochi.
Brown sugar syrup, warabi mochi, kinako
Kinako
powder, cornflakes.
Whoa. You have to crunch the cornflakes, but then the ice cream's freezing.
Yeah.
So you're basically crunching ice cream. Good though. Very good.
On our way over, we went across this big stretch of flatter terrain, which really contrasted what we'd seen so far. About an hour and 15 minutes of driving later, we made it. When we first arrived at Hakone, I saw the lake and pulled over to take a closer look at the pirate ship and the amazing scenery. We only spent a few minutes here, but I'll have to come back. We needed to get to the actual place we wanted to visit before it closed. This was the Hakone Ropeway, where you ride a cable car up the mountain and over the Owakudani volcanic valley. This area smells of sulfur, and you can see the steam coming out of the ground as you take a view from this high point. Weirdly enough, this isn't the only reason this place is famous. They use the sulfur from here to make black eggs. I stopped for a little to get shots of myself, but realised that it was hopeless with all these people around. So we made our way back to the car because the ropeway was closing for the day. The last stop of the trip was to get some food, some regional food actually. And this one was called Tofu Katsuni Te Shoku. And this place called Tamura Ginkatsu Te was known for it. And we made sure to get there for the first seating because it was so popular. This dish is a warming and comforting Japanese set meal featuring simmered breaded tofu and pork cutlet cooked in an umami broth with egg and onions served alongside a bowl of rice and miso soup. I would highly recommend that you try this one. But we looked around this area for a little bit longer and there wasn't really too much to do. A lot of things were closing at this point. So we got back in the car and headed home. In conclusion, this was an amazing trip, and I'm so glad that I was able to go. We made the most out of this car and were able to explore the beautiful but quiet and unknown part of Japan. After researching into Izu a bit more, I ended up finding out that like a lot of other places in Japan, during Japan's booming bubble economy, in the late 80s to early 90s, the Izu Peninsula, particularly hot spring resort hubs like Atami and Ito, experienced a massive wave of luxury hotel construction, corporate resort development, and skyrocketing real estate speculation driven by easy credit from Tokyo. It benefited from a huge influx of corporate employees and domestic tourism during that time. When the financial bubble burst in the early 1990s, corporate budgets shrank, domestic tourism plummeted, and many extravagant building projects were left half empty or abandoned. With the declining population, aging communities, and lack of money for upkeep, there isn't much that they could do. With the increasing demand for Shinkansen and other high-speed rail infrastructure across Japan, it further falls behind as most people pass right by on their way to and from Tokyo and Kyoto, leaving the area to be trapped in time as old resort towns and small fishing villages. This is a problem that many other areas of Japan are facing, not just Izu. I will be heading to another one of these areas, Nikko, in one of my next videos. If you want to see that, then subscribe to this channel. But if you can take anything away from this video, it's that this place is beautiful still, and has some of the most amazing landscapes in all of Japan, making it 100% worth the visit. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I know this was a little bit different from my other videos, but I wanted to try something new with a documentary style. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time when I explore a hidden nature spot in Tokyo with my friends called Jindaiji. And as always, thank you for watching. Peace.